What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Lighten Up already. This is the 4th episode, and today we are going to be talking about fun stuff. So, I want to start this off with some data that I got off HHS.gov, which is the U.S. Department of Human and Health Services. So, they gathered data in 2009 and 2010, which indicated that 78 million U.S. adults and about 12.5 million children and adolescents in the U.S. are obese. Recent reports also project that by 2030, half of all adults, which they estimate will be about 115 million people in the U.S., will be obese. All right, let's start with what does it mean to be obese? Who came up with whatever measurements used to figure that out? What is the equation? Like, where do I even start, right? So I started going back to these old height weight charts. I know I heard all about them growing up. Well, by the height weight chart, you're overweight or this and that. So I thought, screw it. Let's go see what the old height weight chart says. Enter confusion. There's only about 1 million different demographics out there that you can choose from that's a height weight chart. Most of them don't even go up to my height. Like, apparently they think you hit 6'2", 6'3", poof, you disappear. You don't no longer exist, right? So I finally found one that went up to 6'5", and you know what it said I should weigh? Like 116 pounds. So again, we talked about this term obese. What does that even mean, all right? The best description I could find is obesity means a person having a body mass index or BMI over 30. Okay, well, how is that number calculated? Who comes up with that, right? So, started doing some research. Ended up on the CDC page. They started talking about growth charts. They started talking about how they were created in the 70s, but then in 2000 they went back and updated them. But now all those growth charts seem to top out at age 20, all right? Super interesting, but it really doesn't help me for what I'm looking for. So I kept doing some more digging. I ended up over on an article, which I'm gonna link in the description here, on Medical News Today, all right? And it talked about the person that came up with the equation for measuring your BMI, all right? That was Lambert Adolphe Jacques Quetelet, all right? Now, he came up with this in the 1800s. So it really kind of begs the question, is it still legit? Because people change, right? You can look at the empirical data and you can see that humans as a people, especially Americans as a people, are getting larger. Not just weight, they're getting taller, all right? So eventually that's got to change, right? You think. So, in this article, it really started talking about how BMI has been used for over 100 years to help health professionals decide if a patient is overweight or underweight. This equation is pure mathematics, right? It doesn't take into account a difference in a body makeup, right? It doesn't take into account whether or not someone has lean muscle mass or if they are more fat, right? How do we account for this, right? Now, I've asked several times, what's this equation? What does it look like? You know, we know it estimates if a person has a healthy weight, but how does it do that? So it takes their weight and it divides it in kilograms by their height in meters squared. Fun, right? So for kicks, I ran this equation. I come out at 47.5, telling me that my ideal weight should be 156 pounds to 210 pounds. I haven't weighed 210 probably since 8th grade or freshman year, right? So I started playing with the numbers, right? Because I found a calculator. CDC has a great BMI calculator. If you're looking for it, I can link it in the comments below. You enter your height and you enter your weight, and it tells you what your number is and whether you are average, overweight, or obese, okay? If your number comes up below 18.5, you're considered underweight. If it's 18.5 to 24.9, that's ideal. If you're 25 to 29.9, overweight. 30 and above is considered obese. Well, remember when we talked about that data about how many people in the US are considered obese, right? If 30 and over is obese, and I came in at 47.5. Let that sink in. I did. So I started futzing with the numbers just to try to figure out, okay, at what weight ranges do I hit these different descriptors? So average, I hit average up until 210 pounds. As soon as I hit 211, that's when it jumped to overweight. All the way up to 253 is where it jumps to obese. 253, my goal weight's 310, right? That's where I feel like I look the best at, I feel the best at. This picture was me at 310 pounds, probably sophomore year of college. Now granted, I get it. There's a complete difference in activity. Yeah, I was playing football, I was lifting weights twice a day. Like, I was in some great shape. Probably the best shape of my life. When I hit that 310 mark, we'll reassess, see what we think. Take a look in the mirror, feel like, do I need to go further? Should I? Can I? We'll see. So on this same article on Medical News Today, it starts talking about, so in 2013, Professor Nick Trefethen, who was a mathematician from Oxford University in the UK, wrote a letter to The Economist in which he questioned the usefulness of the current BMI formula, calling it a bizarre measurement, end quote. So he argued that the formula leads to confusion and misinformation. Nailed it. The height term, he says, divides the weight by too much when people are short and by too little when they are tall. The result is that short people are being told they are thinner than they really are, while tall people are made to think they are fatter than they really are. Hey, I like the way that sounds, don't you? So he recommends a new BMI calculator, which multiplies the weight by 1.3 for metric measures, so kilograms, or by 5,734 for imperial measures, pounds. Then it divides that weight by the height to the power of 2.5 instead of just 2. So that measurement for me would look like 5,734 times your weight in pounds, right? Because I'm in the US, so that's 400.2 pounds, divided by your height in inches, which would be 77 inches, because that's 6'5", to the 2.5 power. All right, so I ran that number, okay? That came out at 44.11. On the original equation, it's 47.5, saying my ideal weight was 156 to 210. So this new equation puts it at 44.11, and my new range goes 167 to 226.8. The problem is still, it doesn't account lean body mass, meaning lean muscle. So a person who does no exercise, is 6 feet tall and weighs 203 pounds, will have a BMI of 27. An Olympic athlete who is 6 feet tall, weighs 211 pounds, would have a BMI of 28. So according to this, the athlete is more overweight than the person who does no exercise. However, muscle weighs about 18% more than fat, so this is clearly not true, right? Still, Trefethen points out that if muscle is 18% denser than fat, a person who has exercised enough to convert 10% of their fat into muscle would still increase their BMI by just 1.8%. That BMI would still not represent an increase in fitness. So, you know, this is where my frustration really starts to come in, because we put so much emphasis on this BMI number. Is it really gauging anything? Maybe, maybe not. It's just frustrating. Next week, I'm going to play into, how do I start to adjust this? How do I start to pull this down? It's really a question of what's healthy, what's not healthy. I think that is the ultimate question in this journey. What's really healthy? Because there's so much information, so much misinformation out there. And there's so much a difference within us as a human species. what is healthy for some person may be completely unhealthy to someone else, you know. Thank you guys for sticking with me. You know, if you got any questions or you want to weigh in on this, please put some comments on the page, you know, comment on the video. I want to hear your thoughts. Let's talk about it. Let's get crazy with it, you know. So let me know what you think. If you are a trained medical professional and you've got some thoughts and ideas on this, hit me up. I'm always open to hear them, right? So as always, lighten up already, guys.